Hey there folks, I'm sure many of you are enjoying the new Pokemon Black and White 2. It's a really exciting time, a new metagame is being born thanks to all these new move tutors, new Dream World abilities, new released items. But today I'm going to kick it old school with a Gen 4 battle. It's a Pokemon Battle Revolution Wii battle. And I'm using a UU team. My opponent is a Lochnar. Great narrator, absolutely hilarious to listen to. And he's running, I guess, it's almost a UU team except for he's got Roserade, which is technically OU. But I didn't really mind. I basically just told him, tell me what you're going to use, I'll tell you what I'll use, and I'll try to make it even. And so I feel like our teams are fairly well matched in terms of power. So he leads off with Armaldo. I'm just going to U-turn out with my Uxie. Not going to want to stay in and take an X-Scissor. I mean, Uxie's bulky as anything. It can take an X-Scissor, but I don't really want to have to. And especially considering there's not really much I can do to this guy. And if I send out my Steelix, then I can set up rocks and I can wall him for days. My Uxie is actually out to set up rocks as well. It's not the Scarf Taunter set that everyone else, or the Scarf set or the Taunting set that most people use. But yeah, so he sets up his rocks. I'm okay with that. I've got a spinner. I have one Pokemon, maybe two that are weak to rocks. It's not the hugest deal in the world. Anyway, my opponent's going to withdraw Armaldo here, go out into Drifblim as I set up my rocks. So we both have rocks up. I'm not really seeing what to fear from this Drifblim. I mean, I'm going to read the Shadow Ball unless he cares for Hidden Power Fighting or Fire, but I don't really see him doing that. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp. Not a bad move, gotta say. And Steelix doesn't have the best of attack to begin with, so even though I carry the Stone Edge and I go for the Stone Edge, it's really not going to do very much. Honestly, Stone Edge is not the best move to have on this Steelix. I would probably be better off with Gyro Ball. Gyro Ball has decent enough coverage. He actually gets a few of the same super effective hits that Stone Edge does, and those that don't, you get those through Earthquake. And Gyro Ball would have his stab, has more base power against most opponents, and is 100% accurate. So, and more PP. So yeah. Anyway, Patrick is back out. You might think that's my Uxie. You might think that's weird to send out a Psychic type against a Ghost type, but I'm not really fearing anything from the Drifblim. I am bulky as all get up, and so I figure that he's gonna switch out, or he's gonna try setting up on me or something, and I can just go for the Heal Bell and get rid of that burn. Really, I could have saved this for later, but whatever. Gonna go for the U-turn here. Gonna deal a little bit more damage to Armaldo, not much at all. And I'll be able to send Steelix back out because it's no longer burned. I actually don't think I'm going to send out Steelix because I'm predicting the Rapid Spin, so I'm going to go into my Spin Blocker, my Rotom. Now, if he predicts that, well, even if he predicts that and goes for the X-Scissor, what would he have to do? He either goes for the X-Scissor or he goes for the Rapid Spin. Either way, Rotom is a great Pokemon to have out. Indeed, he goes for the Rapid Spin. My rocks are going to stay up, and that is fantabulous. My Rotom is a Charge Beam subset running leftovers, so yeah, I mean, it's worked fairly well for me in the past. Rotom is frail as anything, but it has excellent typing. And so it actually does fairly well in the UU metagame in Gen 4. So I set up my sub here on the Switch. That means he can't put me to sleep with Sleep Powder. I'm assuming this is a Toxic Spike Roserade. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but back in Gen 4 that was more common than the Spike set is now. So I go for the Shadow Ball against Roserade. Roserade is specially defensive, and so that attack isn't going to do a large amount of damage, but just a little bit. Actually, this is the Spike set. Interesting. Okay, that's fine by me. I go for another Shadow Ball, hoping for the Spadef drop. Not going to be very likely, but it is possible. And, I'm just letting him set up entry hazards, and I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I've got a spinner. I've got actually a few Pokemon that aren't going to be affected by those Toxic Spikes at all. So I'm not really worried too overly much. He sets up a second layer of Toxic Spikes. I would actually prefer the second layer instead of the first layer, because when I send out my Blastoise to spin those away, and I don't think he has a spin. Oh, he does have a Spin Blocker. That would be Drifblim. But anyway, when I go for the Rapid Spin, I'd rather take as little damage as possible, because then I can just Rapid Spin, switch out, go out into my Uxie for the Heal Bell, and it'll all work out. Anyway, he switches out into Drapion, predicting the Shadow Ball, just predicting to keep going for the Shadow Ball, and it was a good move. I completely forgot about Drapion carrying Whirlwind, and so I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have let him set up all those entry hazards. But, you know, hindsight is 20/20. But look who gets dragged out. You cannot tell me that's not the most awesome thing ever. My Spinner gets dragged out by a Whirlwind. Holy crap. Oh yeah, by the way, my Blastoise has Rust, so I really am not going to care about that Toxic. Anyway, guess I should probably be predicting the switch out into Drifblim. Instead, he actually sends out Roserade. Roserade's going to be down to very little HP. Either way, I should have gone for the Ice Beam. It would have been pretty good. But instead, I go for the Rapid Spin. It's going to blow away those rocks, and those spikes, and those Toxic Spikes. And my opponent has just wasted 4 turns? 4 turns, really? I mean, yeah, fine, it did a little bit of damage to Blastoise, and I had to waste a turn Rapid Spinning, but it's not the end of the world. Anyway, I'm actually going to stay in, predicting my opponent to set up more entry hazards, expecting my switch. Instead, he goes for the Giga Drain. That's going to be excellent for him because he's going to regain a lot of health. I go for the Ice Beam, expecting it to KO. It does not, because Roserade is extremely bulky on the special side, and this one's probably EV'd to be a more defensive set. Anyway, my health is getting down low enough that I've really got to switch out if I have... Well, I mean, yeah, I've got to switch out if I want to keep this thing around for spinning later on. I got into Arcanine, hoping my opponent doesn't set up either Spikes or Stealth Rock. Well, it can't set up Stealth Rock, but it didn't set up Spikes. That's the important part. Toxic Spikes are okay. And now I'm going to scare him out with my Arcanine. It's not a Banded Arcanine or anything, so here, even though I think I just go for the Flare Blitz. Well, yeah, I go for the Flare Blitz, but it's not like I'm locked in or anything. This is easily going to take out Drifblim. And this is Gen 4, so it's running Aftermath instead of Unburden. Although really, Unburden is usually the better set on Drifblim in Gen 5, in my opinion. I just haven't seen an effective Drifblim use, what Acro Unburden set. I mean, there are much better Acro Unburden Pokemon out there. Acro sets, rather. Anyway, Armaldo is out. He's probably... he shouldn't be expecting me to be... banded because he should have seen the Life Orb damage. Anyway, I was about to go for Thunder Pin, then I realized, wait, Flare Blitz isn't actually resisted because he's part Bug. So, yeah, go for the Flare Blitz. It'll do a little bit more damage. Really should be guaranteed to get a one-hit KO, or get the KO at that range. And I get it. Now, he's not going to be able to spin. He's not going to be able to set up rocks again. Armaldo is down for the count, and that's excellent. So now for my opponent is going to be Hariyama. Gonna want to switch out. You know, Arcanine doesn't have the best... It's not a good matchup. I'm going to send out Uxie. Going to be able to go for the Heal Bell, I thought, except for he carries the Whirlwind too. So, even though only one layer of Toxic Spikes are set up, he just decides, let's get as many of his Pokemon poisoned as possible. There aren't actually that many Pokemon of mine that can be poisoned, because I do have the Steelix here, who is... Steel, and I have Levitator, and I've actually got 2 Levitators now that I think about it. So yeah, he had really bad luck in who was getting swapped out thanks to Whirlwind. I go back out into Uxie, just thinking, really what I want to do is I want to use Heal Bell. I was hoping that he would go for the Fighting type move here. Instead, he just keeps going for Whirlwind. He's pushing his luck, trying to get something poisoned. I don't blame him. My Blastoise is going to come back out. Not going to mind the Toxic Spikes at all because it's already toxic. So here I have a choice. I can go for the Rapid Spin or I can go for the Rest. I was actually just expecting him to die. I was expecting him to outspeed me. Or go for the Whirlwind, I guess. But I decide to go for the Rapid Spin thinking that he would Whirlwind. Really, I should have gone for the Rest. Really, I should have. But, oh well. Blastoise is going to die this... Maybe it's not going to die this turn. I don't actually remember. It's held as low. Yeah, no, I think it's going to survive this turn because the first round is toxic. This is why I'm glad it was toxic and not... Oh, no, it does die. Huh. Screwed that up somehow. Oh well, it's dead. That's the important part. Swallow recovers a little bit of health with Black Sludge. I'm going to go out into my Uxie. My Uxie does carry the Psychic, and I am going to go for it here. But Swallow is pretty bulky, and I have no special attack investment to speak of, so I'm actually impressed that I did as much damage as it did. Now, he goes for the Toxic here. Ordinarily a very good move against a bulky Pokemon, except for I do carry the Heal Bell. Why, you ask, do I carry both the Lumberry and the Heal Bell? And the reason is because I hate it when my clerics are put to sleep. It's extremely annoying and unfortunate. I mean, with Sleep Clause, it's not the end of the world, and your cleric is oftentimes not a bad Pokemon to have be Sleep Fodder because it tends to be bulkier and less useful for it in other regards. But yeah, I tend to run Lumberry on my clerics. Not the best idea. I wouldn't recommend it competitively. But when I made these teams that had Heal Bell on my clerics, this was back when I was first getting into competitive Pokemon. So anyway, my opponent's going to withdraw Drapion here. Gonna go out into Hariyama. Okay, fine by me. I think I'm just going to go for the Earthquake, trying to get super effective damage. And yeah, now that Drifloon is dead, all of his Pokemon are grounded, so Earthquake ain't going to do jack. Not really surprised. I'm going to switch out here, not wanting to take a Fighting type move, whatever the Fighting type move may be. He's not going to Whirlwind, that would be silly, because there's no entry hazards up. He's actually going to go for the Rest. Found that quite interesting. I guess he was expecting me to do some kind of attacking move, although he would have rested first, so his health was pretty high. It seems strange to rest at that point, but whatever. To each his own. Tachikoma is going to... I'm not going to want to go for the sub. I really do not want to go for the sub because he can just Whirlwind me out. Although he's asleep. Oh, I was thinking Sleep Talk, so yeah. 1 in 3 shot of Whirlwind. Probably would have been safe to go for the sub, but I don't. Instead, he sends out Swallow. I'm going to go for the Charge Beam in an attempt to raise my special attack and maybe get a little sweepy sweep going. Swallow takes the hit. I do get the special attack raise, and I'm like, yay! Go, Rotom! Swallow recovers a little bit of health with that Black Sludge, and I am going to attempt to take it out with a Shadow Ball. I am now at +1, and I'm like, die! Yes, it does die! I was pretty sure it would, but I wasn't 100% positive. Charge Beam might have actually killed at that range too, considering I did get the +1, but whatever. Now out is going to come Drapion. Gonna need to go for the Charge Beam rather than the Shadow Ball because it resisted, so Charge Beam will actually do more damage, and I will hopefully get another special attack raise. I take out Drapion at that range of health. That is excellent, and I've got a little Rotom sweep started, and I'm not going to get the special attack raise here, unfortunately. Tear in my eye. Roserade's going to be out now. Gonna go for the Shadow Ball. Stab, not resisted, and he's got no health to speak of anyway, so I am going to manage to take it out, no problemo, and I believe this is going to leave my my opponent rather, with only one Pokemon left, and that is a sleeping Hariyama. And, it's Hariyama, what's it going to do to me? The most it can do is Whirlwind me out, and then I just lose my stat boosts. So yeah, go for the Shadow Ball. I get a crit. He survives on like a smidgen. It's not... all it really means is that this battle is going to be slightly shorter. I mean, I have enough Pokemon left that I'm still going to be okay. Another bit of Hex, he gets the rest, but what was he going to do? My opponent resigns, and that is the end of the battle. I hope you folks enjoyed it. Comment, rate, check out my channel, and if you like it, subscribe. So long.